I'm up at St Andrews today. My daughter's studying here. Hello, Chloe. And we've decided to come along to the Botanic Gardens. Kathy's gone shopping in St Andrews itself because she didn't want to be with us because I waffle on, obviously, about gardening. But we're at the Botanic Gardens and I thought we'd just have a little wander around. So you can see, at the minute, we've got the rock garden, or we believe it's the rock garden, I'm sure it is. And we shall take a wander through one or two little bits. I'm not really going to describe plants to you. Just wanted you to get the experience of the place. So there's not really a lot to describe here. Pines, etc. Alpines, different things. We've got some lovely pulsatillas here. They've not named them. But there they are, they're huge, great things. If I could find the name for these, I would, but I can't see it. Can you see, Chloe? No, it'll say pulsatilla, but no, can't see the pulsatilla, so can't describe them. Lovely pine here. This will be a sort of a black pine or a mugo, something like that. Not 100% sure. I'm probably completely wrong. We'll find the label. Oh, yeah, here we go. Pumila, yeah, so it is, what I said. Pinus Pumila. For those that don't know how big Pumila gets, let me show you. It's about 10 foot. Pumila. Pumila means small, but you've still got to control it. So we'll carry on down these steps. Just trying to be careful what I'm filming at the moment. It's quite nice. It's not bad. Look at that. I mean, who won't want that in the garden? A lovely sort of rocky escarpment looking down towards what appears to be a pond down the bottom. We shall take a little wander down there in a minute. Chloe leading the way. Okay, I see one of my favourites, Euphorbia. There it is. It's not looking great. I'll not hold that against it, but there's a Euphorbia wolfenii there, which looks nice. Next to, and there's a little skeleton of Eryngium next to that as well. That looks quite nice. This is quite nice. Here we go. So I assume that's like a waterfall, but at the moment there's no water coming out of it, and it's got what appear to be what's growing around it. I don't know what that flower is. No, can't tell you what that flower is, but there's all sorts in here. Ferns, etc. And the usual things you'd expect to see, the ebis, and what they got there. Not quite sure why that's in there. Anyway, right, so that describes that. That's the rock garden, really. There's not a lot I can say about the... it's the scree garden. We've just come across the name. Here we go. Maybe we should have started here. So this is the scree garden. I'll give you a little pan around. And quite nice. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's nice nevertheless. Here we've got Calluna vulgaris. To those of you that don't know what that is, it's a tree heather. And when you get one of these things, this is how big they can be. 7 foot, easily that one. And what I wanted to bring your attention to is this Betula utilis, which we all find in garden centres as the silver birch, the white Himalayan birch, and that's what it is. But just remember, it will make 30 foot, which is ideal for a small garden. Whether or not you agree with that is in dispute, but I think that's a great size for a small garden. So that's Betula utilis. And this is a I think it's Bleccium spicant. I'm not sure. It's not labelled. But what a fantastic fern there, right next to the Himalayan birch. This is simply listed as the pond. We don't know why, but it is. Now, this one here is Cornus stoloniferi flavimeri. Quite a common dogwood, this. It goes more yellow as winter approaches, but it's good for side of bog gardens or watery areas. It does really well, but I'm going to take you across here to show you this Gunner manicata. Now, we've got this interesting little walkway across here. I quite like that. I don't know how that would work when the water's actually running, but It's fine. Ah, it's called the... How do you say that? The Lox Pool. Is that the Lox Pool, Chloe?
Yes.
Yep, that's what that's called. Here we have Gunnera manicata. I absolutely love this. This is its winter frame. You can see it looks dead. It looks like bits of dead log all over the place, but it will soon come. Where's the heron? Oh yeah, there's a heron over there in the background there, looking at us. And there's a moorhen as well, which seems to be nesting. The heron's just looking at us. I suspect he will fly away in a minute, or she will fly away. There it goes. Isn't it beautiful? Look at that bird. I know people who keep fish get really annoyed at herons, but I love them and I love to see them. But you don't want them in your garden pond because they pierce them and they take fish and they can decimate a pond. Anyway, back to the Gunnera. You can see, if I just bend down here, it's just starting. That leaf is no bigger than 3 inches, 4 inches. That will become a 6 or 7 foot monster, is how I'll describe it. Here's the new leaf starting to grow now, and it looks great. I mean, I bet this looks absolutely fantastic when it comes out. Look at that. What would you say that is? 30 foot? I would describe that as 30 foot, that whole length. And this must have been growing 20, 30, 40 years, if not longer. But it's doing really well. So if you've got a Gunnera manicata, you've got an area that floods, this would be ideal for you because this won't care at all. The one thing I would recommend that you don't get is this Carex pendula. A lot of people get this. I see it all the time. It's unless you're prepared to control it, it's very invasive. So just be careful what you wish for. So I'm just wondering, at the back end of that pond we've just showed you, and there's a little river. I'm not sure what it's called. Very interesting. Well, it's not interesting, it's just nice to look at. Nice sound. There's the heron, off it goes. Can you see that in the background? And it's landing over the other side. I'd class that as majestic, me. I love them. I often paint them as well. So we've got more ferns here. This one should be, I'm going to just confirm it. I'm thinking it should be Osmundo regalis. It's not. It's Mattuccia struthiopteris. So I'm totally wrong on that. I'm surprised at that. Now that is the shuttlecock fern. So and it's in its winter slumber. Now further down south, we're at what are we at the minute? March, April 7th, 6th. We're not sure. The 9th of April today, and down south of England, this will already be growing and growing away nicely. Remember, we're up at St Andrews at the Botanical Garden, so it's quite high up and it's more cold. But anyway, that heron's looking at us. He's thinking, I wish you'd bog off and let me get my feed. Okay, we've come to this one now. Now you will be forgiven if you think this is Gunnera manicata. It's not. It's a plant called Geranium Palmatum. Will take the same conditions as the Gunnera, which are across the back bank there, but it's not. It produces the same leaf, only this is kind of miniature. But it will produce a massive one. In actual fact, this could be Gunnera. It could be another type of Gunnera. There are other types, but I think it's a Rheum. We've just come across this at the side of the pond, and it's cracking. I'm not a great big fan of Prunus. I do have one in my own garden, but not this one. And this one's Prunus Hertella Pendula Rubra, and it does look stunning. It's a small tree. It's full of blossom at the moment. It looks cracking against this pond. That's definitely one. Here we go. Here's definitely Geranium Palmatum. This one's Rubrum. Now, I love this one. Geranium Palmatum Rubrum, and it has this lovely tone in its leaf. It looks like it's been munched by something, not sure what. I want to show you this next, which is right next to it. Now, Phormium tenax. When people buy Phormium, they end up with monsters. Now, this is what's commonly known as the New Zealand flax. And I'd say that's around 8 foot tall, and the clump must be 6 or 7 foot wide. And I'm sure they'll have been cutting this back over the years. But when you get something like this, just be very wary. It can be very big. This is just the green form. There is a purple form, less tender in England, but nevertheless gets almost as big. So just be careful what you plant. There are smaller forms. They're not the Tenaxes, they're a different family altogether, but they do stay smaller, but they still produce quite a wide plant. So just be careful. We've got Prunus Incisor here, and this shows you why they're very valuable at this time of the year. The bees are on it. It's, I'm trying to focus in on it, there it is, fluttering around and doing its thing. I think this is pronounced Rhododendron Macabeenum. I'm going to back out of this now. I'm just going to show you what this is doing. This is amazing. I'm not a big rhododendron fan. If I was going to have one, this is the one I'd have. It's probably 10 foot tall, and look at the size of these flowers and the size of the leaves. I'll demonstrate with my hand. The size of the leaf on there, it is massive. I love it. Look at that. I'll step back, because I've got to come right back to show you just how good this plant really is. Who'd believe a rhodie could get that big? It's absolutely stunning. I might change my mind on rhododendrons. I might quite like them, but I've not really got the conditions up at Grassy Bottom for mine. But that, if you was going to have one, that's the one to have. So just behind that rhodie, we've got other little shrubs. I'm trying to remember what this one's called. I'm trying to find its name. I can't find it. No. But we've got things like the ranunculus and all sorts of other things going on here. All ground covering plants. Other rhodies. Different types of rhodies. Quite a lot of rhododendrons in this area. Don't know what they are. They're all sorts. We've got hellebores there. Helleborus orientalis. And other different species, I've no doubt. But I keep coming back to that rhodie. It's a cracker, isn't it? Look at that. Amazing. Here's Polygonatum, and this is is it Jacob's rod or something like that this is commonly termed as, and it does well in shade. It can become very invasive very quickly if you don't keep an eye on it, and it will spread around, but nevertheless, it's really nice. It's doing its thing at the moment. It does produce a drooping flower, sort of creamy flower, I believe, because I've got this back at Grassy Bottom, and I do like this one. Looks like we've got a casualty of war here. Although having said that, it must have cracked away at some point. I can see the tree stump itself, but this is huge, so they've had to cut this down for a reason. What that reason is, I'll not know unless I talk to somebody about it. We've got other rhododendrons here, all looking good, massive leaves. I think the closest... oh, hang on a minute. There's a... Let's give you the name of it. This is Rhododendron Aberinum. And look at that. I know I'm not into these blousy flowers, as you all know, but there you go. A lovely, stunning red flower on that one. And it does look good. And I should think if it's cloved, which it will be later on, it'll look even better. This one's Rhododendron Aberinum. Nice little rhododendron, that would be nice in most people's gardens, I should think. But again, these have got the ideal situation here. We're in a woodland situation, and obviously these things do really well in here. The average garden probably couldn't take stuff like this, and if it did, you'd have to really really get a small one, really. Look at this. This is stunning. I'll try and get you the exact name of it. I know it's is it trifolium. It's just stunning. Where's the label? It'll be in there somewhere. Oh, because I haven't written it down. But look at this. Who wouldn't want one of those? I've been trying to get hold of this one. I just can't get hold of it. It's stunning. There's loads of little seedlings around it. Who's not tempted to take one of those? But I won't. I'll not tell you that. I'm sure they have it for their stocks. But it's really nice. That's beautiful. Okay, Chloe's come across this. What is it, Chloe?
The Gruffalo.
It's the Gruffalo. Look where it is. It looks great, doesn't it? You've got to have a little bit of fun in the garden, and why not? This here it's a Mahonia, this, and most people won't have heard of this one. It's called Pinnata, and it's a lovely little form, actually. And it's got some cracking flowers on. Don't forget, it's a little bit late up here. Yeah, and it's got a bit of a scent to it as well, which is quite nice. So that's lovely. So we're on a sort of a big, almost a forest track really. We don't know quite where it's taking us. We decided to go naked and not use the map. But we're coming across other trees that have, we think's been taken down. In fact, definitely, they've been taken down in those 3 storms that come across in February. And it's done a bit of damage to it. But, you know, it's not a disaster. In fact, there's more life in a dead tree than there is in a live one. Nevertheless, it's sad to see that they're all down. But it's nice, so we'll not ponder on that one. But that's just a lovely scene. Don't forget, we're still in April. Nothing's really growing up here at the moment, so it's all quite desolate at the moment. Obviously, most gardens are under development all the time. This is a little step. I say little. God, in another 10 years, I'll not make it up these. They're just made out of stone. But it's nice. We've decided to cut across because we think it's going to be better this way at the moment. Okay, this is Geranium Ubirakum. And it spreads right up this path side on the woodland edge. And it's just a good ground cover. Now, people are always looking for ground cover. Consider the hardy geraniums. They're always nice. They always look good. I know it looks a bit boring for you at the moment, but that serves a purpose. We've got beginias here, just like the ordinary elephant ears, but it's good. It'll take conditions that a lot of plants won't. So consider that one as well for hard to plant areas. So this is Beginier Cordifolia, and really I spotted it from down the path there, and it's lovely. It's smaller, it's more upright, but it's a lovely little plant. None of these are flowering. Now, when I've come up here from Grassy Bottom, mine are all flowering, but these are not flowering. So it just shows you they're well behind. This is the Perennial Border. It's got lots of summer flowering stuff in here, and we're just too early to see the beauty of it, but you can see the size of this, or the length of it. It's probably 150 foot long. But there's nothing really to show you. There's just plants appearing, aconitum's, veronicastrums, again, Beginier Cordifolia. This one's purpurea, so it goes more purple toned in the winter. And it's looking nice, nevertheless. You'll really get no idea at all what this is going to look like at this time of year. But it's springing into life. We are in Scotland, so I don't know what they're doing here, Chloe. What's all this? This looks like we've got a new area coming on here, and it looks very, very sandy. So I think there's a name up there. We'll probably find out what they're doing. It's called the Tangled Bank. It's a yeah, so it's like a June walk, they're calling it, and it'll be June sort of. There'll be some grasses up there. There'll be the meringue grass they'll be putting there. I've got no doubt. In fact, I'm sure that's what's blowing on the side there. So this looks very interesting. I'll get Chloe to come back and take pictures when it's built. Not quite sure what's happened to this building, but there's a magnolia in there in full flower. Magnolias seem to have done well this year. The frosts have not killed a lot of them off. There's a camellia in there as well. And there's several actually. You can see, well, you can't see probably on here, but it looks like it's lost its coat, this building. I'm sure it would have had either plastic or glass over it at one point, but so much has happened. That appears to be an agave over there. Now, I can't go into this area because they're redressing it, rebuilding. In fact, what they've got some little information board here. Let's see what they're doing. And sustainable future, conservation in action. So it's a conservation area that they're probably trying to recreate, but I'm sure that's agave over there, agave americana probably. It's huge, and it appears to have a flower coming up and out of it, and it looks like there's some sort of an acacia right next to it, which would be right because they're from the sort of same sort of area. We're now in a glass house, and I think this is called Yurious Umbrectius. Not quite sure, never come across it before. But it's a lovely plant and early flowering. I assume it's not going to take outdoor conditions, hence it being here. Now, this other one here, it's called Scyphomandra Betacea. It's a fruit. Look what it bears. Look at this. What's its common name, Chloe? Was it the tomato?
The tree tomato or the tamarillo?
The tree tomato or the tamarillo. Chloe's looked it up in the internet. Wonderful. But look at that, that's bizarre. These are all internal plants, but we're going to have a little wander through this just to show you more of the Botanic Gardens. I believe this one to be Calestum citrius. Yeah, citrinus. And it's got these cracking flowers on it. But again, greenhouse stuff, not really my thing. But it's not massive, this little part of the greenhouse, but it's got quite a lot of plants in here. There's a beautiful looking plant kneeling down there. But we'll do a little walk through and we'll try and keep quiet. Here's an iris. This is quite a nice iris. I suspect it has to be kept indoors as well. And we're coming through here. This is like an alpine section, I assume. Quite nice, nice building. Nice, nice, nice. Now this is definitely part of the lupin family. Which one is it? It's definitely not that. It's like a tree lupin. Not quite sure what it is. It's not. It's a coronilla. I'm totally wrong, but it's definitely that family. So it's coronilla. Forms shrubs, this one. And again, you can grow them in gardens, but they're not very successful in gardens. We've got some areas here that some of you might find interesting. It's a little... oh, that's nice. Lavalia. I like the flower on that one. That's nice. So there's some nice flowers here for you all to look at. Look at that for you pretty people that like pretty plants. And here's a good idea for you. Look at that. I do this sort of thing all the time. And that's a good way of arranging them. Sempervivums. Why not? What else have we got? Yeah, Arachnodium. Sempervivum Arachnodium. That's the spider type. It'll create like a spider's web over it eventually. It's looking very nice. There's quite a lot of sempervirums in here. The house leeks, sempervivums, rather. And just little dinky little plants. And I'm not really into little dinky plants, but it's nice. We've got some tufa here. We'll just hang on to that for a few seconds so you can read it. And that's quite nice. They've created this planting area over there, which is quite nice. And it's looking rather nice. So here we have Formium purpureum, and it's not as big as the other one, but it's nevertheless it's a good size at the moment. It needs a bit of tidying up, a bit of cleaning up, but it shows you how big these things can get. And there's the green variety over there, different type again. It's not the type we showed you earlier, but again a big form, and it's actually flowering. You can see those little stalks on it. They're flowers. We've got a fig here, little fig. I love fig roll biscuits. And I do love figs as well, themselves as a little tree or a shrub. I'd like to have one in my garden, but I despair that it wouldn't survive. We've got a grape here. It's all over this area. And again, here again. And we've got some, as Chloe's just pointed out to me, some little grapes that never really got picked or made it. We've got Trachycarpus fortunei, the Geranium Palm or the Windmill Palm. It's too tall now. That needs removing really from there because it's touching the top, and they could send that down to Lincolnshire, and I'll have that in my garden because it will take it, believe it or not. It's in a greenhouse. It doesn't need to be. We've got another euphorbia here. This is I suspect, although I'm not 100% sure if it's mellifera, but we shall have a look. See if we can find its label, because it'd be nice to know which one it is, because the two varieties to get. It's Stediana, that's the other one I was thinking of. So Stediana is a little bit more tender, hence it's in here. But that's lovely. So if you've got sort of some conditions to look at to get one of these, this is fantastic. I love them. I just don't risk it in Lincolnshire. It's a little bit far down. I'd need a protected area, but I love it. I mean, it's euphorbia. Brilliant. Euphorbia Stediana. So here's another herbaceous perennial border. Massive. This is how you should have borders. Huge, great things. Unfortunately, I'm at the wrong time of the year. Not likely to get back up here for some time. So I can't show you this in summer, but I bet this looks stunning. While I'm here, I can see we've got one of my favourite species here. They're calling it Steeper Callum Agrostis. It's Callum Agrostis Hacutiflora now. Oh, hang on a minute. No, it isn't. It's Achnophorum Callum Agrostis, that particular one. It has been renamed. Achnophorum Callum Agrostis. Lovely grass. Get hold of that one. Nice one to have. While we're at it, we've got pulmonarias growing all the way around here. We've got Oster, Blue Angel, Geranium Trifoliata, which is normal, Miscanthus sinensis. Shame they never named it. It's probably just an ordinary one. But again, this is the wrong time of year. Beginias everywhere. This is a fantastic grass if you can get hold of this one. I love it. Named after me. Not really. It's called Richardii. Common name is the Toto Grass, and it has these elegant plumes. It's from New Zealand. It's a good doer if you can keep it under control. I know it's massive here, but you can keep these things under control. This plant must be 10 years old, and it's split in the middle. This is what they commonly do. A lot of grasses tend to do this. They split in the middle, and then you can take the outer edges away. This is huge, but just imagine one little clump of that in your garden. Fantastic. I love it. I've got loads of these at the moment. I will have some for sale, so if you ever go up to Grassy Bottom, ask me about it, and I might sell you one. Prunus cerula. We buy these in garden centres as small trees, and the reason we buy them is for this bark. Really interested that it's got mahogany coloured bark. What they don't tell you is what it becomes. It becomes this monster. So it can be really big. Now, I suspect this isn't on any rootstock at all. It is simply what it is. But nowadays, for the garden centres, they do tend to put them on rootstocks, which will hold it back. But if you've got just an ordinary cutting of this, this is what you're going to get. There's Chloe stood next to it, and it's huge. It's a huge tree, probably 35, maybe 30, 35 foot tall. Quite big, so be careful if you're going to get that one. Nevertheless, it's a cracking tree to have. Okay, this is a sorbus, one of my favourite types of tree, and this is Comics Arta, and it's beautiful. I think it's a Japanese type, and the colours in autumn will be amazing. Now, what they've done here, or a rabbit might have done earlier on, is it's chewed its bottom there, and it's made it multi-stem. If you've got this type of tree, and you can find one in the garden centres that's quite squat, try and chop it out early on and create this sort of thing. Multi-stems are always better, especially with sorbuses. They just look so much better for it. And Chloe's found something here that's a bit, is it actually attached to it? There's something cottony here, we're trying to work out what it is. That is a seed head, fluffy seed head, I don't know what it is. There's no label, I don't know the name of every plant, and I certainly don't know the name of this one. But it looks interesting, little fluffy. So we've come across this rock, not quite sure what it is. Oh, it's the Peace Garden.
It's marked the 50th anniversary of the founding of the United Nations.
There you go. Chloe said it in one go. Oh, look, and I didn't notice that. It's got a dove carved into it. That's lovely. I love to see stuff like that. That'd look way better in my garden. It really would. Ah, Magnolia stellata here. Which one is it? Waterilla. Is it? I can't see that. Pigeons on it. Ah, water lily. They're calling this water lily, this particular one. I do like this particular magnolia. It's one that I've had many times, stellata, just the ordinary stellata, but I do like it. It's got a lot to offer in a garden, and it stays quite small. So it's a good doable tree. Here we've got what appears to be a greater spotted woodpecker. Wooden, screwed it to the tree. That's crazy. Well, there you are. That's the sort of thing that makes gardens fun. The little noise you come near is a little wind chime. I like to have those wind chimes in the garden, but by God, they do send you a bit nutty if you have them in your garden and they're continually blowing. It'll do your head in at some point. So that's as much as we can show you, really. It's a shame that there isn't more out, but we've showed you what we can, me and Chloe. So that's St Andrews Botanic Gardens. I can see there's an Ace Agricium up here, so we'll end it with this Ace Agricium, but this is the entrance to the Botanic Gardens, and they do have some plant sales. I'm going to have a look, but I can't buy them because we came up on the train. I don't mean I won't buy them. Yeah, so this is Ace Agricium. It's like a cinnamon bark it's got on it, the paperbark maple, and it has all this rough-looking bark on it. Got one of these up at Grassy Bottom and it looks fantastic. I recommend you get one. It is a small tree. It's got out of hand here. They've allowed it to, but that's really nice. So we'll end that, and this is St Andrews Botanic Garden. So thanks for looking at that, and we'll try and get to another botanic garden at some time in the future. Ta-da!